right, guys. Just give me a minute, a second. I need to tell Facebook, as well as Twitter, that we are doing it again. Okay, now Facebook as well as Twitter knows that we are live again on OTHMARIUS MAGIC.
Tell you how to live your life, but it's probably a bad idea to steal what I stole last night.
Alrighty, right.
I was singing.
Alrighty, right. Let's turn the music down a little bit. Again, we're doing this today, listening to the band of my brother called Django Lassi, a gypsy swing band from Berlin. That always, when they perform, they drive everybody completely bananas. And I hope the quality of the sound and the audio is well, guys, because you can never know. Right now, YouTube tells me that it's a bad streaming bitrate, but I'm at the lowest bitrate I can possibly stream, so I hope everything's cool. Feel free to give me a feedback in the chat, okay? So I'm still setting up some stuff, technical stuff. Hey Aaron, awesome, you made it. You already performed your gig, or will you do it after this? And if you already performed, how was it? Did you have a great time? I hope so, buddy. Guys, I'm telling you, probably I'm going to mess this up today. No worries, I'm a professional. You will not get any of this. But after the end of the session, I'm probably gonna be like, dude, man, you should be better prepared if you go out with something like this. Sound okay? Voice a little louder. I don't know if I can do this. This is already, you know, it's showing me already the red thing. So I'm turning the music a little low, downer, and then it should be alright, okay? Something like this. Because I want you guys to have a little background music, right? So currently 4 people viewing. Everybody welcome. Welcome to another live stream here on OTHMARIUS MAGIC. My name is OTHMARIUS and this is just what I do, you know? You know, guys, once in a while, wait a second, what's going on here? Yeah, we got good quality again. Okay, so we're good. We should be all right. So once in a while, a master of an art form, any art form it might be, the master asks the novice of the art form, son, do you think you have what it takes? And usually the novice answers something like this. Sure, man. Sure, I got what it takes. How difficult can it be, right? Because that's the attitude when you're young and when you're getting started with stuff. And most of the time, you eventually realize after a certain time of practice and doing the thing that there's so much more to it, so much more than you would ever expect, especially at the beginning when you're getting started. And today this is kind of this is going to be kind of the topic for this live stream, you know. Because for now, I have been kind of going over the tutorial series I already have running on my channel. You know, we talked in the first live stream about the very basics of card handling in general. Then we took a close look at shuffling techniques and the importance of shuffling cards. And then we talked a lot about the basic concept of card control and card magic, the basic card control techniques. And we also took a close look at specific slides of card control. Mainly we talked about the pass, kind of, you know, realizing that there are sleights out there that serve a certain purpose, and they should be used wisely. And when you start using them, it's best if you have a solid foundation of basic card handling techniques. A solid foundation, a solid repertoire to always play safe and have confidence, you know. So this is a lot of material we covered so far in this series here, right? So I was thinking, you know what, it's time to step back now and to try and to get things, to put some things into perspective one more time, right? Of course, because this is a practice session, we're doing this practicing our thing. So whatever you're up to right now, whatever you are working on with playing cards. By the way, I'm going to crack up a brand new tally-ho here today, just to give me a little treat, you know. Anyways, whatever you guys are practicing right now, get a deck of cards out and start practicing. And I hit you with the trailer right now, you know, because that's just part of it. Guys, awesome you're tuning in. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. OTHMARIUS MAGIC. Like and subscribe. All right. So here's the deal. In the last live session, we kind of decided together that we are going to talk about practice, how to practice, and the different maybe types of practice that are out there. Maybe giving each other some advice. How do we practice? What's going on stuff? And I will talk about this a little bit today, but something came up. Someone wrote me a comment 4 days ago, which I found quite interesting, and this comment kind of changed the path here today. So I thought, before we talk about in detail what practice means and how we best practice, maybe, or the different practice techniques we work with when we practice an art form or something where we have to get skills at our hands, you know, or with our body. I was thinking maybe we talk about the goal of our practice beforehand, you know. And this might sound a little bit silly for you guys because the goal is becoming a magician, right? But what does that actually mean, right? So that's a topic for today. And I'm getting a deck of cards here at my hands. So Aaron, what your, oh my god, yes, it was awesome. Yesterday I was performing for kids from 6 to 16 and today for adults. So it was a great weekend. I believe so. Awesome, man. I think this is so awesome that you've performed more this weekend than me in the last 3 months. Because I'm busy with so many other things, and also just whole YouTube is quite time consuming. So anyways, I'm having a blast of a time what I'm doing. But yeah, going out there performing is the best thing you can do. And I'm happy you had a great time. So what says the statistics? We got 4 viewers currently. Amazing. That's cool. That's pretty cool. So the camera is off. Let me turn the camera on. And let's start practicing here a little bit. Since I'm sitting at a table, I'm starting with some table riffles here. And by the way, I'm kind of using a combination, a blend of the technique taught in the Royal Road to Card Magic and the technique taught in Expert at the Card Table by Erdnase, right? And when I do the tutorial on this one, I will explain this in detail. It's not so much of a big deal, but this is something for me. I always wanted to be 100% under control, but also make it look pretty nice and shiny, right? Table riffle is such a beautiful way of shuffling cards. So here's the deal. When you practice magic, there are I would say there are 2 main two different phases, two main phases. You have to separate from each other. The one is the very beginning of getting into a specific technique, right? So you are pretty much extremely focused on what you're doing with your hands, and you try to figure out what it is and how to make this work. And eventually, after a certain time, you get behind the secret, you know, and then you become better and better with it. And then the practice kind of switches. So you start now practicing to really get the thing under control, to get this, to be able to do this without thinking about this, you know. And me doing this right now, it's exactly the thing, and you can see it still takes a lot of focus for myself here on this thing I'm doing with my hands. And of course, the practice goal for any card handling technique is to be enabled to do this without thinking of it at all, so that you can be 100% with your audience, you know, chatting with your audience, observing the reactions, answering questions, or you know, just, you know, being with them. It's really, really important. So this is these are two different phases of practice you should be aware of. And actually, I conditioned all of my family and friends and people around me, and nobody who's spending private time with me is wondering anymore, because I'm always having a deck of cards in my hands. Can you believe that? Or most of the time, you know. Of course, there are times when you are getting involved into something, into a really deep conversation, or where it's just would be truly impolite, you know, to do something with your hands during the conversation. But on a general basis, you know, when I'm sitting with people and it's just like a chit chat, nothing special, I'm shuffling cards, you know. Was a little alienating at first for some folks, but after a little time, everybody got used to it, you know. So practice is time consuming. So you use any chance to practice. Of course, as I said, there are these two different phases of practice, mainly two different. There are many more, but just these two basic different concepts. And you are not going to practice something when you are with people that you have to concentrate on, right? So you practice something like shuffling the cards, like the overhand shuffle or the Hindu shuffle, like to really get it down, you know, to really be completely loose, and there's no focus on this motion right now, not so much at least. And that's the only thing I wanted to share with you guys about practice in this live session, you know. But that's also quite maybe for some of you this might be new. Like, okay, I never thought about that. There's different types of focus, you know, when you practice. And this is right now. There's nothing. I'm doing nothing special here. This is just an ordinary overhand shuffle, ordinary Hindu shuffle and stuff, you know, just to get started, to warm up, so to say. Anyways, why did I title this live stream the way I titled it? By the way, awesome thumbnail, right? I did it with PicMonkey, I believe it's called. It's like a website where you can it's like a you know, photo tool website, because I was working on another computer. And that's the only way I could do it. And I was extremely surprised after a short time. This website or this program worked pretty well. So the thumbnail, I'm very satisfied with the thumbnail. You know, on YouTube, their thumbnails are so important. Why would I choose this topic? Well, I got an email about 4 days ago, and I can't pull this up for you guys, but I want to read it to you. There was a guy called Brian Rappert. Brian Rappert 4 days ago wrote the following to me. So I read this now. let me do this. So he wrote, thanks for this jam session, referring to the previous live stream. I was interested in the points you raised about having forgotten much of your past learning and using these sessions to consider how to explain what you have come to take for granted. I am an academic taking up magic as a means to think about how skills are learned. Part of that involves trying to document my learning as a beginner. If you are interested, see link to the homepage. I'm not sure if it's great etiquette to mention another site on yours, but it's not doing the same kind of work at all, he wrote. So first of all, Brian Rappert, in case you ever see this, of course it's not so cool to promote one's website on another page, but in this case that was really legit. No worries. You were lucky because usually YouTube, when you put a link in the comments on YouTube, puts you into spam. And usually bigger channels who get a lot of comments, they don't bother with spam at all, because most of the time what's in spam belongs to spam. However, I'm a small channel, so when there's a comment in spam, I always check those, because sometimes YouTube puts stuff in spam that actually doesn't belong there. So there's people writing kind things and then they're in spam. So, and then I put them out of spam and I say thank you, because I like to get feedback, you know. It means a lot to me. So, Share Does Magic. Yeah, I'm back again. Share Does Magic's back again. Awesome. MAGiCiAN TV is takes a break for 5 minutes. No worries. You can rewatch this anytime. So Brian Rappert wrote me this comment. And he was interested in this aspect of documenting the learning process as an academic. I thought it was very interesting because I'm an academic myself. I actually did study history, philosophy, and musicology all in one back in the days. So, I just took a look at this website of Brian, and I pulled this up for you guys right now because he writes something pretty cool here. So Brian Rappert's site here, this is the part of the site where he is explaining his scientific project, trying to document his learning process. Now he writes something pretty interesting here, something that you know, there was an impulse for a thought process, a certain thought process of mine. So here's what he writes about learning magic. I'm an academic that has spent much of my career studying how concealing and disclosing come together in statecraft and warcraft. Wow, I mean, what a topic. Now I'm turning my attention to performance of secrecy and revelation to another era, magic tricks. In these pages, I want to document how a novice, me, learns magic. The goal is not to reveal how tricks are done, but relate how the ability to accomplish trickery is learned. Sorry for the bad reading. The kinds of questions I want to look at include what skills and knowledge are required for performing magic, what is concealed and revealed about the practice of magic through different kinds of training instructions, how do magicians define what should and should not be disclosed about their craft. Last question, one of the most interesting questions. So guys, I was gone here again, and I don't know how long. That is really a pain in the ass. Okay, because probably you lost a lot of important material here. So I have to recap this right now because I was gone, and I've got to check if I'm back on here. I'm so sorry. This is keeps happening, but I guess I'm back again right now. So here again, I gotta repeat this right now for everybody because this is important. I got a comment by a guy called Brian Rappert. Okay, Brian, you're here right now. This is so awesome because I just read the introduction of your webpage. I don't know if that was lost. Can you guys please give me feedback if that was lost? If that was lost? Andy Payne. Loving this live session, just dropping in to say hi. I can't stay for the whole session, so we'll have to watch it another time. No problem, you can watch it another time. Awesome, you tuned in for the moment. So, I don't. So I just read this again. You know, or just I paraphrase this. So here's the thing. So Brian Rappert is a scientist who has been dealing or working on concealing and disclosing, how concealing and disclosing comes together in statecraft and warcraft. It's an insane topic. I love this so much. It's so crazy. And because it is very much related to the stuff I was interested in when I started history and philosophy. And now he turns his attention to magic. I just, for everybody who didn't see it, I give it here. It turns his attention to magic and tries to document his learning process and asks the question how concealment and revelation of knowledge in this particular era works. And this is a crazy question. Okay, I got to the end of reading Paris. Awesome. So this question is so crazy. This stroked me so because you guys know there is this debate or this struggle in magic since the social media and there's a lot of older magicians really refusing, for example, something I do, any kind of lecturing or tutorials on magic on an open platform like YouTube. I actually have a lot to say about this. I don't want to go too much in detail because this is on one hand this is a huge misunderstanding how social media work. You know, of course this is public here, everybody can see this, but it's not so easy to gain a wide reach. You know, so still this is a very intimate atmosphere here. Although it's live, so a lot of people who are angry about exposure or teaching magic on a platform like YouTube simply have a misunderstanding or a misconception about how social media work, I believe. But on the other hand, this argument by magicians, and this is really, really old, it's like they're saying like the knowledge of magic belongs to an inner circle of magic. And they're actually organized in circles, magic circles, and you know, meeting groups and stuff. And still up today, a lot of them refuse to talk in depth about the art form with laymen or even only with performers that already hold a certain resume. You know. I have a different take on this, of course, since I'm doing what I'm doing. But still, this is such an interesting topic, also under the aspect of what I want to share with you guys today. Because if you get started with magic and if you aim for becoming a magician, of course, it begs the question: what actually does that mean? And since it's called magic, and I would say like 95% of everybody involved in it agrees with the definition that it's the art form, the performing art of staging tricks and illusions, creating supernatural effects with natural means, right? There is still an element of it that goes beyond that definition. And that is, for me, something very important to figure out, or at least to think about it a little bit, because this will, at the end of the road, of the royal road to card magic, extremely reflect on what you're doing at the end of the road, so to say. In this matter, today, I'm asking, do you have, or do we have, what it takes to be a magician? Share Does Magic writes, I believe the people that want to know the secrets are the people that want to perform. No random person is going to search up a trick. This is true, although, and I don't know if you guys know the Magic Wizard Review. This is it's a very nice selling show. These guys they have a magic shop, and they are all outstanding performers of magic, working magicians, and they're doing this, I don't know, every once in a week or something, once in a while. They're sitting down on a couch in their studio and they're reviewing latest magic products. Absolutely great show. And they were, in one of these shows, they were talking about this situation where one of the guys performed something, and then someone in the audience after the show kind of, you know, came with his mobile phone and showed him, yeah, I know how to do it. So a classic thing, I don't know, a certain magic product, valuable thing for a performer gets revealed by someone on YouTube. And this is definitely a line I would draw. I would never buy a product and then reveal it on YouTube. That's insane. That's really crazy. It's unethical. But anyways, that happens, and so this has an impact on the art form. This has an impact on the relationship between performer and audience. But that's not so much the topic for me right now. The topic for me is right now is what our idea, our vision, or our belief, our idea of what a magician is, how it's shaped, how it's formed, because that is a huge part of how we actually then work and the decisions we make on the way, which is a long way, which is a difficult way. So now I'm always taking a look here to the side. I'm so sorry, but I just don't want to crash again. So I'm just looking at what's going on. So currently 4 viewers. I know this is a heavy topic, but it's an important one. And of course, I'm not doing this here in a manner of speaking the last word, except for the past. That was the last word. But this is something. This is something in progress. This is something I'm still not sure about what it means. And you see, I didn't practice now because I was trying. I had to focus on what I say, and I just totally dropped the cards away. Right. So let's bring it down a notch for a moment, and practice a little more. So guys, what are you practicing right now? What are you practicing right now? I don't know really what you mean. What do you think of magician buskers? Well, could you ask me this in a different way? I don't really understand the question. So guys, here's a question. 3 people watching. Let me know, what do you think? What do you believe is a magician? What's your definition of a magician? I want to start it from there. That's a question out in the open. You know, what is a magician? So, preparing myself for this today, I did a little research, just checking out what has Wikipedia to say about the term magic. Now, Wikipedia in German and Wikipedia in English, by the way, are different things. I'm glad I speak both languages because that really helps. Gives more data information. But on the English Wikipedia, the term magic is separated in magic illusions as the performance of trickery and to create illusions, and magic what do you say, supernatural or something like this, yeah. And these are separated terms, and the text does not the text, the explanation on these terms do not touch. I found this very interesting because in the history of magic, one thing is for sure, the term magic actually really split up, but still kept this the same controversy it had for the longest time of its history. So magic started becoming a performing art at a very early stage, I would say, even the medieval times. But it really broke through as a performing art in the 18th century, and then really in the 19th century, when it became like a parlor and big stage and really entertaining a lot of folks. But of course, the term itself is much older. And the thing about it is that magic is very much related with two other terms, and it's science and religion. So it's kind of a triangle: science, religion, and magic. And those three things, they kind of, you know, circulate around each other, competing with each other in a certain manner. And what we are doing today is kind of as magicians, of putting us into this tradition. But most folks, I would say, not really been aware about this. And this is what makes it so interesting for me. And because I've done a lot of things before I came to magic, and a lot of my interests just fell together in this art form, and I was always wondering why, except of this performance aspect, where you have to, you know, to gather and bring together a lot of different skill sets, you know, from rhetorics, psychological manipulation, acting, performing skillful things with your hands, you know, being a comedian in a certain way also. All these different things. So it caught my interest, but there was something more to it. And that certain thing that really caught my attention about magic is that we are dealing as magicians with reality and illusion, and the conflict between reality and illusion. We are actually working with the most fundamental ingredients of how human beings construct or deal with their lives. And this is more to me than just, you know, learning methods and techniques, how to create certain effects, you know. It really has to do something with positioning yourself in the world as a human being. I would really put it like that. And when you start with magic, probably as a young person, as a kid or a teenager, all of this, that's not so much important. But still, on this journey, you gain knowledge and you participate on knowledge that is extremely valuable and also extremely powerful, you know. And I believe everybody who's involved in magic should be aware about this, or should take a close look at this specific element of the art form. Now, before magic became a performing art, there are a lot of different scientific definitions on the term, and one of the most famous describes it as a kind of a primitive cultural form of religion in a way. And the world of magic is a world where there is a power or a power source behind the world we see or the world we experience, and the magician is enabled to connect with this power to manipulate the world we see in a manner that it's not really understood by the people who don't hold that power. And that is this happens in an so-called animistic, I hope this is the right English term, worldview, where the objects of the world, either trees, water, air, are filled with spiritual energy, or with spirits or ghosts or demons and spiritual creatures. And the magician connects with these animals or with these spirits, you know, to do his stuff. And that is a world where objects can be manipulated without touching them, you know. So you can you know, put a spell on a little wooden stick that represents a person, and then you can manipulate the person with that. We still have these effects out there today. Most famous is this voodoo puppets, you know, where you put a stick in there and to torture people with that. And this idea of magic, of course, was kind of challenged then by religion, because religion claimed this power, and especially monotheism understands the world as a creation of one divine power, and the magi turns the magician, the one who holds the power, turns into a priest, basically, you know. And is doing his thing, his rituals, you know, influencing the world or the society or the people. And in that sense, a prayer could be understood as a magical ritual even, you know. So there was a power challenge between magic and religion for the longest time. And since the magic comes from this animistic view, when magic turned into this into performing art, and Christianity was kind of fighting against magic, and it was you know, describing it as a work of the devil, and demons do that, and we still have people believing that kind of stuff out there today. When performers in the 19th century were confronted with that, they would really play with this, you know. And then you have these vintage magic posters. You ever see this when they have these red devils on their shoulders? That comes from there. I thought it was really funny to read about it, and if you look at it, you see that magic performers always, for a long time, played with this history of the term, and with this also with these emotions that the people had. You know, they were frightened of it a little bit, and they played with it. And I believe this tradition even here, how is it called? This very extremely awesome card magician. Oh man, I forgot about it now. How's it called? I love him so much. 52, his show is called, I don't know, and it's 52 Disciples or something. Jesus, I'm an old man. Anyways, I believe he was playing with the same theme. So this is this is something magicians up today advertise with, you know. But is a magician someone who has special wisdom to control or to use supernatural powers to influence the world? No, of course not. And believe it or not, there of course have been people, magicians, who just do trickery, you know, the simplest of trickery, using this thing or this claim, you know, to impress the people even more. Right? And of course they are called frauds, and there has always been magicians, or always been, I don't know, people from the other side, from religion, for example, and then of course science, who try to debunk these people because their claims are so false. And we have this controversy since the earliest of publications. Actually, the earliest of publications of magic were debunkers, you know, of trickery. Isn't that something? Isn't that crazy? So I'm reading. I need to read the comments here right now because you guys getting involved here, and the camera went off again. How's that possible? What I have taken so far from doing magic is that a magician is someone that knows how to skillfully respond to and shape belief and disbelief when everyone knows she or he is trying to do so. Okay, it's nice. From this definition here, yes, of course, this is the idea of the magician as a performer. This is kind of a role play. Everybody knows you're doing trickery, but you're inviting the people for a moment, or for the moment of the performance, to let their skepticism behind, and to trust you and to believe you that magic is real, that supernatural is power, and then you give them a great time. But even at that point, there's a huge responsibility, because you invite the people to leave their you know, rational thinking and their common sense behind on this journey. And the deal here is you give them something pleasing, something pleasureful, something enjoyable in that specific time, and that's what you get paid for in the best case scenario. And so this is very true, and this is what you learn. This is, for example, one of the arguments I would go for when people say, "Oh, the magic is in danger because of social media, because tricks get revealed." I don't think so, because I believe it's not the secret so much that makes the magic. It's the performer that makes people believe in magic for that moment and experience magical stuff happening around them for that specific time. Here's the deal. How can you fool a magician? How can a magician fool a magician? Not so much in the sense of course, you might not know in detail how the specific effect is achieved, but you know the basic concept behind it, so you are not fooled. However, a magician's is so good at his performance and the way he set it all up that he even makes magicians, you know, not caring anymore and just opening up for the experience. And that's a magician's. That's how good he is in the role he's playing, right? And not so much in the sense of that he knows a specific trick or a secret nobody else knows, you know. I believe that it's a fine difference here when it comes to performing the art, or when it comes to understanding what magic, what the art form of magic is all about, especially when you compare it with other art forms, you know, performing art forms. She Does Magic answers the question I had before. What is a magician? That's somebody who stands in the streets doing tricks to earn money. That definitely is also not a wrong definition. So as you can see, I'm completely jazzing here. I was just so inspired by your input, Brian Rappert, so I just went for it and just jazzing around, you know, opening some boxes here, you know, and seeing what's coming out, basically. So, and then today, let me go back to this very topic. Like, if I would, from what I said so far, if there's 3 performers that are very interesting to look at. That would be on the one hand Penn and Teller. Because Penn and Teller, they would, and I believe they got quite in some trouble with it when they were young in the magic community, that they would kind of do performances that would expose tricks. You know, there's this cups and balls, this transparent cups and balls they did, or they did this beautiful thing, how you say, choreography of you know, this classic trick of somebody put in a box and then the head gets cut off and stuff, and they would also make this transparent, and I got a lot of heat for this, and I never understood that by the time when I started with magic, because I'm not a magician I'm not an old schooler, you know, I'm somewhere in between, you know, the new kids, the YouTube kids, and the old folks. So I never understood this, because how beautiful is that? You have a beautiful performance. You enlighten the people. You show them the people basically the basic concepts of the tricks, and at the same time you still make it work. You still create the illusion. And isn't that fantastic? I mean, how could anybody really value the illusion you create? If they don't know, if they don't have any concept of what is going on, of what it means, how difficult it is to create an illusion as such. You know, think about people that do believe in you doing a magic effect. It's actually your magical powers. This is not an audience in there. These are disciples, basically, and they don't value your work. They value a power. They value something that you don't owe, actually. So you are a fraud, basically. Here's another magician who's very interesting in this behalf. That is Darren Brown. I mean, Darren Brown always was always debunked other magicians, and always was very keen on being very clear about not having supernatural powers or something. But Darren Brown still walked the line in a very pretty manner. I mean, he still performs in a way that people kind of get the sensation of this is real, man. This is real. This is some real secret knowledge only very, very special individuals hold, you know. And he kind of, you know, gets you to the point where you freak out about a crowd freezing in front of him because he's just standing there, or you know, stealing people's stuff he just meets in the streets, and all these psychological things, you know. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how much of how real this kind of manipulation is. How powerful these psychological games being played there really are. I don't know. I don't really care at that point, because that's never something. That has not been a direction for me so far to go to. But you know, he creates this sensation that is so magical, that is like, dude, what is he doing? How is he, is this real? You know, this feeling. And if I get this, and also other magicians I know get this feeling watching Darren Brown, can you imagine laymen? They go completely bananas. You know, they really have no freaking idea what is happening. And this is a magician. This is the pure definition of a magician. That's a performer that invites you to believe in magic, and that holds such a strong impact over you, but would never go too far to do it for any other reason than at the end of the road, entertaining you, thrilling you. You know, although there have been some things where I would say, I don't know, that's some scary things, you know. I don't know. Sometimes I thought, if that is real, that's fucked up, you know? So it must be a stooge, right? But on the other hand, if you see how manipulation and how easily manipulation works in the world, and how easily beliefs of people are abused, so there is something to it, you know. Anyways, so we got Penn and Teller as performance that make the secret of the trick or the method transparent as an element of the performance. There's Darren Brown that pushed the limit of performing as a magician. And then we have, for example, some folk from the 80s. I don't know if he's still performing. Uri Geller, you know. Here's Uri Geller. Uri Geller did nothing but spoon bending, okay, you know. And he claimed to be telekinesis powers. He wrote a book about how alien gave the power to him or whatever. I don't know what the story is actually. And he made millions of dollars with it. You know, insane money. And he had in the 80s people in front of their television, you know, taking that a spoon and wondering why it's not bending. You know, really exploiting this phase or this trend in the 80s, you know. Not so cool, actually crossing the line there. Although he was also actually only doing this in a performance set. I don't know if he ever went out and doing kind of, you know, shows where he then would present himself as a guru, you know, because the next step from Uri Geller is actually to become a total fraud. That means to build a sect, basically, to build disciples, people who believe in your powers and in your connection with the supernatural or with a divine being or whatever bullshit, and then you literally can make them do whatever they want, up to the point where you can instruct mass suicide. You know, then that's as far as it goes there. Okay, so you have these three different types of magicians, and the question still remains: what does it mean to be a magician, and what does it take to become a magician, and what kind of responsibility comes with it, you know? So, isn't that's the thing that spooks me around for a couple of weeks now. since I realized this, that this is actually one of the things in the background of my brain or of my thoughts I'm working on when I do magic, and I just wanted to share this with you guys because it's so crazy. It's so crazy, and in this very sense, I believe magic is an outstanding, it's an extraordinary performing art. It really goes deep into history, and it really deals with the deepest and the most valuable aspects of human life. I would say so, you know. So, I just had to make a little break here with my own thoughts, not to show where I'm going from here. Guys, my name is OTHMARIUS, and this is definitely a freaking crazy session, because all I'm saying, I'm just brainstorming here, okay? So don't take this for the last word. This is just opening boxes, seeing where we get here, and also this is my limit of English. As you all know, I'm a native German speaker, and this is this stuff this really challenged me to put this properly in English. So let me hit you with the trailer one more time, and then we see where we're going. OTHMARIUS Magic. Like and subscribe. All right. Brian Rappert, are you still watching? If you're still watching, I'd really love to know. Could you sum it up very shortly? What was your main take on this subject that you said that it's like this secrecy? How do you write it on your page? Wait, let me check it out again. Concealing and how concealing and disclosing come together in Statecraft and Warcraft. Because I think this is such an interesting topic. This is so crazy. What's your main take there? How are you wondering how this works in institutions, or in as mental patterns, or as social structures, or what's your take on that? The video collector. OTHMARIUS, do you meet up with other magicians in Berlin? I'm looking for other more experienced magicians to hang out with and mentor me a bit. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you know what? If you're in Berlin, we can do a little magic hangout. I don't know. I've never. The only magician in Berlin I really contacted so far was Mo Jones. If you know Mo. Who's a super nice guy, and this is almost a year now due, and I need to call this guy immediately, actually, if I think about it, because he's such a nice guy, and he knows so much about the art form, and he's got a great take on things. Yeah, maybe we can meet up for a coffee or something. Who knows? But you know, I'm a super busy guy, so don't get your hopes too high. That's happening super soon. But maybe, yeah, maybe we can make our own magic circle. But there's one in Berlin, I believe. They're gonna be so pissed when they hear me say that. So let's turn some music back on here. So now Brian Rappert writes, let me see if you can see this in the Brian Rappert writes, for me there is a lot of caring in magic. We need to act responsibly to audiences, but magicians are very reliant on their audiences acting appropriately to them. Yeah, that's true, but that every performer is that, and however, in audience management is a specific topic in magic, and it's very strong in magic, related to other performing arts, especially I would say for stand-up comedy, because stand-up comedians usually have to deal a lot with hecklers, which is insane. I we as magicians too. I believe every performing art where you interact with your audience and where you really touch them emotionally, you of course you get a feedback, and you got to learn how to deal with that, you know. Hey Trinity, yeah, we got a crazy session here today. Going completely bananas about the question, what does it take to become a magician, and what does that actually mean to be a magician? What is magic? Just hook me up, the video collector. Just hook me up on Facebook. You know, you find me on when you Google OTHMARIUS MAGIC, you find me there, or you find this on my YouTube page, the link to Facebook, and then it's much easier to communicate than with YouTube, you know. So guys, we are doing this now for, let me see, for about 55 minutes. Yeah, for about 55 minutes. What are you practicing? Are you practicing? You got a deck of cards out and you're practicing? Now let's practice some sleight of hand here. Yeah, never take yourself too seriously. Yeah, that's right. Enjoy it. So yeah, this is my favorite thing to do lately. This is super powerful, but I don't have it under control yet. Not going to full screen, not to flash too hard. It's basically a button steel that gives you all you need to perform extremely crazy magic. So, as performers on one level, of course, and this is what every beginner or every novice of the art form will have to deal with for the longest time, and that is practicing the skills you need to perform your magic, you know. And you will spend a lot of time sitting at a table or wherever, or standing in front of your mirror, getting the moves down, you know. And when you get your moves down, you have to bring them into routines, you know. And then you have to get your routines down, also practice those, and then at a certain point you go out and you perform your thing, and then you have to adjust and redefine your routines because of the reactions of your audience, you know. It's a lot of work actually to get a magic routine really groovy. And this is one of these things, this is really sad about the times we're living in today. This is a very hyped society we live in since the social media revolution, you know. Very fast paced society, so productions, videos and stuff comes at us on a very high rate, and sensationalism is a huge topic. Now imagine there is a stage performer who worked on his act for 20 years, and the act is 15 minutes long, you know. That's even too long for a YouTube video. Or you have a, like, I don't know, 7 minutes act, or 3.5 minutes act for TV. You came from circus, you're an old guy, and there's this guy who gets wrapped up in a microphone, super crazy, and it's getting weirder and weirder and weirder, and then he by the end, with one motion, he comes out of it. I don't know, 7 minutes long or something, and he worked on this probably all of his life, and then, you know, it's going to be uploaded on Facebook, on YouTube. People watch it, give it a like, and then it's burned out, you know. So there you go, 20 years of working on it, and it's just burned out. It just burns away. And this is something really worrying to me, at least. So you really have to keep that in mind. So I believe the positive side of this is there's going to be a lot of great magicians coming out of this generation, learning the way we are learning, and being so rich with information, you know, because I'm guessing, guys, I'm not the only source you are going to if you want to learn something, or if some topic is addressed. You know, there's a lot of great teachers out there. Some do it for free, some take a little money, but there's a lot of material out there, and I believe that there's some crazy awesome performers coming out of this, and they will be very aware about that material, valuable material, easily burns on a YouTube, easily burns on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So these people will go out then. As a matter of fact, the other day I saw Paul Gordon went live on Facebook with his mobile phone, telling some very funny stories about what he experienced as a working magician, like really crazy stuff. And then they were like talking about a little bit about the generation difference, and they were wondering like why there are not so many younger magicians working, and Paul Gordon's take was like he's very skeptical about people who are not really working and kind of, you know, lecturing or doing some stuff on YouTube or whatever. And then I typed in the comments, I said, yeah, there's not so much younger magicians working right now because pretty much all you old folks are still in business or something like this. And he thought that was a funny comment, but it's true, you know. There is still the old guard is still doing their thing, and they are really, and you know, how can you be better than that, you know, except for addressing a new generation with a different style, you know. Like I'm always saying, like, probably Chris Ramsey made that happen, you know. Chris Ramsey, the first hipster magician of the universe. Because as a matter of fact, this magician type we all know so much, you know, with the cylinder and the black suit and stuff, that was just the first choice of the magicians that became famous in the 19th century. So generations after that just copied that style, believing that's how a magician must look like. So it might very well be the case, and I hope I'm wrong, because damn, Ramsey's gonna burn in hell for that, because it might very well be that there's going to be a whole generation of magicians believing that they need to look like hipster. And it would be just a little bit of hip history repeating. Can you imagine that? In 2148, a magician going on stage like totally as a hipster, and there's no hipsters anymore. Like probably people are more like alien-like dudes with 3 legs and stuff. But the magician looks like that, you know, and then it will be in the history books, you know, because of freaking Chris Ramsey. Coming up with this nonsense. This is another very different topic about the art form. When you start with magic, and or no, let me put it like this: is it enough to just build a routine of, like, say, classical tricks and just do it more or less the way it has been done before, with your little nuances, your own little jokes and stuff, and you entertain your audience? Is that enough? Are you a magician then? But you basically copied what generations did before you. Is that enough to be a magician? On one hand, yes, because a lot of magicians exactly did that. Of course, the art involved and everybody brought his own style into it, but the idea of how a magician looks like was very stable for 100 years at least. Now this is changing already, you know. So I believe because of the social media and of the changes the world is going through these days. So, how do you get there, actually? Or do we have what it takes to become a magician, in the sense that you really create something truly unique as a persona? I mean, this is really a challenge. I mean, this is this is already a challenge for a lifetime, for a private life, you know, to become someone real, someone true, someone who's really doing his or her own thing without caring about what other people think about it. Not in the sense of, you know what I mean, you know. And now you have to create this as a performer, because you are a magician, and as that you are claiming something. You are claiming as the performer, as the persona on stage, we talked about this, inviting the people for this for the gig. You're claiming to have the power, yeah, the magic, the power, and of course this can't be just another guy wearing a cylinder, and of course this can't be a guy dressed up like Gandalf. You know, people just don't buy it. And as a matter of fact, if you look at all these great legends of magic, they all somehow made it to represent the aura of a magician with their persona, you know. And it doesn't matter if this is serious style or comedy style or whatever, but the character or the persona, the stage persona, over the years turns into truly a magician, into a role that becomes really in a way innocent, you know, as it is as it becomes so much part of the performer. And just been asked when I did start doing magic. Well, if you take it simple, I started with my early 30s. Now it's been 10 to 15 years. I don't know yet. But if I really look back at my life, I was working on topics or dealing with skills that are part of magic too. I just didn't know it was magic. So I studied in history and philosophy, and I was really interested in how consciousness works and how people build up realities, and how emplotment and storytelling works in history, and what the heck is history, how every country tells its own history, and how does this come to pass, how does this come to reality, and how does this become something that people believe in or take into their lives and make base decisions on, you know, like being a German or being an American, you know, or being a lefty or a righty, you know, because these are, when you break all of this down, or being a Christian or not a Christian, or being a Satanist or Buddhist or whatever, believing in this, or these are all, if you break it down, these are all just world views, concepts of constructs of how the specific individual sums up the information and experience he has to have something to rely on, you know. Although it doesn't mean that people then act out on their beliefs, you know. It's a very, very different thing, you know. But I was always interested in that. Now, if you start performing magic, you are so close to that. You are just in the middle of this. People just building up their reality, you know, putting pieces and fragments together and making a judgment right there. That's a judgment. That's it, you know. And what you do as a performer of magic, you actually guide them to misjudge, to mislead. You mislead them to misjudge the situation, and all of a sudden, a blue deck that has been a blue deck all the time is a red deck. Wow, how did that happen? You know, yeah, you just switched it when everybody looked into the skies because the joke was too great. And simple stuff like that, but it's really, really, really exciting if you actually do that. If you pull off these cons, these little things, you know. And you all know it, or we all know it when we get started as stage fright, you know, or the magician's guild, you know, this thing where your nerves go like, now I'm doing it, now I'm doing it, now I'm stealing the card. Now I'm holding a palm card, I'm holding a palm card in my hand. I hope nobody sees anything. Until you get relaxed about it, you know. And then it gets better and better all the time. Now, Joshua Sliva asked me, what is it? That sounds extremely interesting. I'm sure you can use those concepts that you studied for your patter. Yes. Or can you do some dope-ass tricks with that? Well, you know, the trick is a trick. And there's a millions of them, okay? And some rely more on sleight of hand, and thus are more difficult in a way. Camera goes out again. Others rely on, I don't know, a setup and a mathematical principle and so ever and whatsoever. Here's another aspect about magic. Do you have what it takes? You need to have a lot of knowledge about people. If you do impromptu work with people, if you come close up to, you basically need to be able to how you say, to catch a person where it stands, right there. And so you need knowledge about people, but you need also a huge common knowledge, because you are performing wisdom, you know, you are performing secret knowledge that creates magic. So you can't be some dipshit dumbass, you know, not knowing anything about art, literature, or whatever. It's a huge part. And you also have to be able to level yourself with your audience, you know. Some audiences needing a little different treat from other audiences, you know. This has to do with social background, with intelligence. This has to do with gender or grouping. For example, just I didn't perform there. I was visiting my papa, my father, and we were having a couple of cold ones with his old squad. So we're talking 60, 70 years plus man from a certain social background. Now they totally need something. They would have needed something totally else as a story or as a pattern. That the pace would have been completely different from performing to a young group of diverse millennials, drinking I don't know, beer or whatever in a bar, or you know. Something very different. As it sounds very simple, but you know, performing for children is something else. For performing for grown-ups, I'm basically saying. But this is more diverse. You will meet more different people, backgrounds, group settings than you will believe. You know. Thank you, Trinity. You say, wow. Trinity says, wow, your English is superb. Here's the point. I'm really here out of my comfort zone, because I'm talking about things I'm not talking about usually. I've never expressed with words so much, not in a spontaneous way like that. Talking about a subject that's very important to me, and my neurons are firing like crazy, you know, because I'm always, you know, looking into what's the right word here, you know. It would be a completely different talk in my native tongue, you know, in German, you know. It would be much more easier to express myself. So also this is an aspect when we look at what is a magician. Now I was talking as a magician or solitarily under the aspect of being a performer. You know, performing some tricks, entertaining your audience, because that's the main objective, right? Takes a lot of skills. It takes a lot of skills. As a matter of fact, I believe this is the most difficult I ever did in my life, and I would be a musician performing as a musician and solo and with different bands. I would perform as a writer. I would write live on stage short stories with terms given by the audience. It was a show I would do for almost 6 years every Wednesday in a very beautiful club in Berlin. So I already, when I started with magic, I already had a lot of skill sets and experience with things related to magic. But boy, when it comes down to magic, this is really a different level. Because it narrows down to that one performance, and it's always that one performance. And as a close-up magician, so you're walking to people, or you're on the streets, or you're going to tables or on a bar, wherever. You are always entering this chaos. You don't know what's happening. So all you got is your confidence, and all you got is your pattern and your routines, and they will go nuts. It will always take another direction. It's by the way one of the best magic purchases I ever made. It's Card Under Glass by Doc Ethan, and that is really, really brilliant. It's about $50, guys, if you don't know it. It's just a free commercial for this product. This is insane. This is a whole routine with very different effects for like a close-up or parlor situation. And the beautiful thing about this product is it not only goes very much in detail into every trick or trick routine, gives you the tools you need, it also gives you different performances, and also the kind of a director's cut where the performer himself analyzes his performances. And this is so rich, this is so crazy, and all of that is so true. So you have somebody who, I don't know what Doc Easton's sales pitch was. This is what I worked on for 20 or 40 years, or I performed it a million times. So honestly, this, you can see this performance, you can feel it. It is so down to earth, so pure. It's just, yes, that's how it goes down. And still in this performance video, or exactly in this performance videos on this DVD, you can see how it goes down. How people are wild, people are interrupting, people don't want to pick a card or try to outsmart you, and you're still in the same. You gotta be sharp, you know, on spot all the time. Isn't that crazy? And that's really. So I don't want to freak you out, guys, for especially if you're a beginner or something, because you build your way step to step, and usually you go out with 1 or 2 tricks, and then you I don't know, you bum, or you make it and you're successful or whatever, but you build this up, you build this experience up. This is something also you practice, you learn, and maybe that is the most important. Do you have what it takes to be a magician? Like really going out there and completely out of, there's no comfort zone at all. That's like nervous like a wreck, maybe, with shaking hands and whatever, and still you walk through this, you know you want to do this, and from the very beginning, and there's no forgiving here. There's no, you can't practice. You just gotta do this, you know. You just gotta, it's gonna be your first time anyways, so do it, you know. and I believe this is just the hardest part, you know, because yeah, you can spend hours practicing your things, and you can purchase one trick after another, and you never get there, you know. But still, you know a lot of magic. And here's the thing, I believe there is a group I call no, not a group like a band. There are people out there, I call them just trick collectors. These are people that really enjoy, you know, buying magic tricks, learning how it's done, taking a look at this, and they find this very interesting, and some of them don't even have the ambition to go out to actually perform it, you know. Fair enough. It's like really fair. There are deck collectors out there, people who just love collecting, playing cards without having any ambitions to become a magician. However, don't mix those things up, okay? So if you want to become a magician and your board is full of expensive playing cards, and there's not one single book and not even one DVD on Magic, well, you have to straighten out your priorities ASAP, you know? Because you don't need fancy decks for performing Magic, you know? Because they're going to be ruined in no time if you go out. They fall on the ground, and then sand comes water, beer, you know. They take them away from you. They steal them in the middle of the performance just to overband them and all that crap, you know. So currently we got 9 people viewing. Everybody, it's so awesome tuning in. I'm completely bananas tonight. I'm just freestyling here, jazzing my ass off. I hope you have a great time enjoying this. My name is OTHMARIUS. This is just what I do. OTHMARIUS Magic. Like and subscribe. And yeah, again in the background, you are listening to the beautiful band called Django Lassie. I put this up a little bit here and reading your comments and seeing where we're going afterwards, okay? This band is from Berlin, Django Lassie. I missed to put the link in the box, but if you find it, Django like Django Reinhardt, and then Lassie like the drink, okay? Awesome band, got a nice YouTube channel. Go there, hit subscribe, and give them guys some love, because this is an awesome band. And if you ever have the chance to see them live, you gotta go to this concert, because they cook up the crowd in no time. You know, they start playing. 30 seconds later, everybody's like, yes.
You coming in my dreams. You put my back against the wall, but you don't understand me at all.
So everybody, we are doing this now for, let me see, what tells me YouTube. 1 hour and 19 minutes, 45 seconds. This is the last round of questions. So now everybody wants me to show us your favorite trick. Guys, I'm talking here for 1.5 hours, okay? And I've been practicing cards all the time. Can't show you my favorite trick because I can't do it yet. But I'm gonna shoot a couple of performance videos in the future. Anybody of you guys knows Stranger's Gallery by John Bannon? Stranger's Gallery by John Bannon? Awesome. I'm working on this now. And I've even got a remix version of it, which is insane. So, if you want to see one of my favorites, and this is honestly, guys, I'm telling you this is a hard matter here because we got some angle issues. So if I would like do this, I would totally flash, right? I don't actually have a favorite trick in the way. What I'm doing usually is kind of a set of an ambitious card with some color changes, you know, or a top change in between. So I have this effect that there is a spectator's card and it gets signed in between, and then, you know, yeah, you know, maybe I can try this one with this old deck. So I have a spectator select any card out of the deck, okay? And in this case, we got King of Spades, right? Now I would have the King of Spades signed, and what I do, I give the King a really nice band, okay? And then I cut the King right there into the deck, okay? So you will find the King completely bent in the deck, right? So I put it in the deck. Look at this now, because I'm going to make the magic happen in just a moment. Oh la la, wow! And you will find, did you see the effect here? The card came jumping to the top, the bent card. And of course, it is the King. It's more impressive if it's signed. But now the angle was shitty. You couldn't really see it jump up because it's very visual. You hold this really, and yeah, I should have done it like that. I'm stupid. I'm sorry, but that's what you do. And then the signed card, you know, jumps to the top of the deck. Very visual. And actually, I've got a performance video on this also up on and running on my channel. So this is something I like doing very much because it's very powerful. And then you know, some stuff like where I challenge myself. I say, for example, I want to force any card, the Queen of Hearts here, right? And that went something like this, and I shuffle the cards. Totally flashing. And then I have a spectator select a card again with the thumb riffle, right? And let's see. He could have stopped me at all of these cards, but he would have stopped me right at this one. So this is now hopefully the Queen of Hearts. And no, it's the 10 of Spades, but no worries. I can change the 10 of Spades into a Queen of Hearts anytime, you know? And I'm already ready to do what I just did, or to go for, yeah, let's put the card into the deck. Right there. And if I pick up now another card from the top, of course this is any card, 9 of Clubs, place it on the table, and if I just rub now on the card, something like this, yeah, and it turns into the Queen of Hearts. Stuff like that. This is this impromptu stuff you can do with the deck of cards. If you completely jazz around. All-time favorite also when you say you lose. That's what we talked about the other day. So I need 2 cards for this. It doesn't matter. I put them out, and then I try to lose the Queen of Hearts here now in the center of the deck, right? And then I am taking the bottom card and I put it here, yeah, right, like that, have it out jogged. I take the other card. No, you know what, I take them face up, you know, both cards face up. That makes it better. And now I'm doing this beautiful stunt because the hands are faster than the eye, they say, right? And I like this very much because there's a 70% chance that I drop the cards totally to the floor whenever I do this. Look, something like this then. Yeah, well, and this was 2 cards, but it should be the 1 here, and that should be the Queen of Hearts. Whoa. Completely blows layman's minds, you know? So a sandwich effect. Things like that, you know? But this is this magic where the performer is in the center. I really also prefer tricks where you hand out the cards and you have the cards cut, and then it's 4 aces on the top. Pick poker, player picnic, something like this, or do it as I do. Tricks that involve the audience. This is the fun part, you know. And then if you have a table, of course, although I don't have this right now really at my fingertips, so I leave it be here. But of course, the 3-card Monty is something beautiful people play with, especially if you do it with the version where you give 1 card to spend here. Beautiful things. So a lot of things you can do. So everybody's impressed now or sad now? Because I feel like that sucked back the pattern definitely, yeah, but it's late. It's late after all them talking. I mean, there are also a lot of awesome package tricks, and it gets interesting when you have a kind of setup that is well organized, not too much, and then you can create some nice color changes or some really impossible feats, and you play it out in a row of 2, 3, 4 effects. That's the best thing. So and it's the most fun, I believe, if you, and this is again the question, do you have what it takes to be a magician? Also takes a lot of time, you know, to build your own routines, you know, to just come up with something, say, okay, I want to do it like this and like that, and you set up the deck, and then you practice this routine, and then you see how far you can get with it. And then maybe at one fine day you have, when you go out, you have 3 different decks. They're all set up, and then you can, you know, play a little game with yourself and say, okay, I take this deck, and you can have the people choose, and so the people choose the whole routine, makes it interesting for yourself. Something like this is also really nice. And I'm not talking about super complicated stuff. I'm not talking about the most difficult slides or something. I'm talking about just different routines, a 4 ace production, a revelation, and I don't know, a possible location, or again, I don't know, a revelation or a prediction, and I don't know, something else, maybe something you bought, some visual thing, you know, flap card, or something with the tool, a trick with the tool, you know, stuff like that. And then you just do your thing, you know. But of course, on the first level, you have to practice the slides, the techniques, and then you have to routine them, put them into routines, make them as valuable as possible, with the easiest means, and as little as material as much, because you don't want to stress yourself out too much. Playing a variety of effects, most reach of effects, you know, that's the goal. And of course, having a nice story to chit chat. Right now, right now I did what you should never do. It's like, now I do this, now I do this, I put the card in, bullshit. That's you tell a story. So that's usually when people say in a situation where there's a different, where you're in a different context, just show me a trick. You know, it's not like that. You know, it's a build up. The trick begins before the tricks even starts, you know, so you build up the atmosphere of it and stuff like that, you know. Actually, if somebody out of the blue, out of the context, says to me, show a trick, that's, even if you perform a nice trick, it's still just that trick somebody, you know, asked you, and it's not building up the reference of being a magician, inviting the people to the magic egg and experience your performance, you know. And this is very much different. So So. So guys, if you're interested in the way I perform, I got some performance up and running on my channel. You will find those in on my channel page as performance lead back tricks or performances stuff. And you will, and also this is very interesting for me, because I said I document my learning process here, also on YouTube. You will find my early uploads dating back to 2012 compared to what I do now, very, very different, and you can see a change. And if you want to see a magician change, or someone becoming a magician, not to say that I am already one, or that I am there where I want to be, but there is a lot of progress happening, and you actually can see this. And maybe this encourages you a little bit, you know, because especially in magic, since it is the performance of illusions, we are very often confronted with the high end, you know, with the best of the best, and then it makes you feel very little or hopeless or frustrated, because you think I will never get there, you know. But you get there eventually if you take it step by step, you know. David Copperfield is not David Copperfield today because he was born David Copperfield, the great magician, although it feels like it, you know. No, he worked his ass off since he was a little kid, and okay, he was an outstanding performer in his 20s, but then he made the Statue of Liberty disappear. Are you kidding me? And here's this thing, and this is maybe the last story I'm telling you guys before I get my sweaty face out of your face. This is Julia Penn from Penn and Teller, I believe, told the story about David Copperfield, advertising, and that he's going to make the Statue of Liberty disappear, and then Penn to talk to his father, and it's just a story he told, so I'm telling you the story he told, maybe you know it. And he talked to his father, and was totally excited about this, and his father said, but you know, David Copperfield does not actually make the Statue of Liberty disappear. And this is so funny, because this is actually exactly what I talked about. You got to build yourself up a reputation. You got to learn how to invite people to the performance, to let go, to open up for you, to act the magician, to present somebody who holds supernatural powers, just for the time of the performance, and make them believe that the impossible is possible. And David Copperfield, you know. It's what people say, he made the Statue of Liberty disappear. Or they say he walked through the Chinese wall. Yeah? You can't walk through the Chinese wall. Ever thought about that? You can't make an object like the Statue of Liberty disappear. Actually disappear, right? Or can you? Or have you ever seen David Copperfield fly? Man, it looks so epic. It's amazing. It's really something else. And this 80s show, when I first saw this, I never saw him live. I just saw this on a tube. When he flies out of the stadium, away from the stage, an eagle comes flying, and he lands on his hand, and he flies with the eagle on his hand out of sight. And here's the thing. I don't even know if that really happened, but I believe I saw it. That's how freaking awesome this guy is, you know? And this is where you want to go. And there's no doubt about it, that it's an illusion. And not a real supernatural power, right? Otherwise, you are dealing with a fraud. And maybe this can be a topic for a session like this, once in a while, talking about fraudery and frauds and the responsibility of a magician or something, you know. Just going on with what we're doing here. Guys, did you have a great time? Did you enjoy yourself? Was this fun to watch? Will you tune in next time? Because I don't know when this is going to be. So I can't do it on Sundays in July. So it gotta be on a Saturday or on a Friday. What do you guys prefer, a Friday or a Saturday? That would be an interesting question. Now, I will not set a date right now, because actually I also gotta now step back and I gotta see what I want to do. I have to added some material I shot at this beautiful summer location. That's the last upload I did, showing you some nice overhand false shuffling technique. And there are 3 more videos coming up. It all has been shot at this beautiful summer location. Now I gotta edit that shit, and then I want to shoot my welcome and thank you and stuff for Patreon, because I'm setting up Patreon. So that's a lot of work next to all the other projects I'm involved in. So probably the next live stream is going down in 2 weeks on a Friday or on a Saturday night. Yep, Joshua Sliver, yep, had a great time. Brilliant, Trinity, like all your live sessions, honestly, and day is fine. Any day is fine. Okay, Joshua, you're easy to please. Awesome, thumbs up for that. And then I will just make up my mind what's the most what I think is now for me. I just have to just relax. I'm super excited and stressed right now. I don't know why. What's the next topic I want to talk about on this live stream? I hope you have been using this as quality time, also practicing a little bit. And maybe we will go back to the cards next session, or maybe I will choose another topic similar, more open and wide topic similar like this. There's still a the 4K subscribers deck giveaway up and running. I believe I've linked this in the info cards up there. The info cards. You will also find there all the tutorial series, or you will find there the playlist of all them previous live streams. You will find the playlist of the basic card control, I believe, because that was the topic we talked about in the last session. Just to tease this one more time, and also I got a completely underestimated video under the radar, revealing the secrets of. The real secret of David Blaine was the catchy, the how you say, the clickbait. And actually I did. And this is what I'm doing right now, is what the series was planned to be or to become. But the series broke up for several reasons. So maybe that's a really great idea. Watch this video, find it in the info cards. It's the secrets of David Blaine. It's a video that totally bombed, and the second video I did in the series was blocked worldwide due to copyright issues, because I took Jimmy Fallon's performance, David Blaine's performance on Jimmy Fallon, to talk about it, and they kind of, blocked it. But the intro, the series pilot is still up and running. Watch this, and maybe this is a good idea to just on the basis of what we talked about today, with all the material we have to practice on, to go into this topic. Because I got it. Great, that's a great idea. And also I want to plan these live sessions a little more, to come up with some dank memes, in between. And I'm always forgetting about those. I'm so sorry. So, opening up another cold one. We are 1 hour 38 minutes, guys. We had a great time. What do you say? Are we calling it a day? Or do you wanna keep watching? Because tomorrow is Monday and Monday is my Sunday. That's crazy, isn't it? No, guys, I think we're good. So everybody, my name is OTHMARIUS, and this is just what I do. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had a blast of a time. I hope so you also enjoyed this watch. Of course, everybody who was live again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for participating with your comments. It's really cool. It's really something different to do this live than just editing a video or something. Like this direct feedback of you guys is really cool. It's really groovy. It's a lot of fun. So, in case you haven't already, make sure to hit the double combo, subscribe, and notification not to miss what's coming up on my channel. Some funky videos, beach summer party, pool party at the summer with cocktail playing cards and stuff like that. Also tutorials. I'm setting up my Patreon. A lot of stuff is coming up in the making, and also this live series is going to continue. I don't know if I can make it next week, but probably in 2 weeks, definitely. Until then, have a blast of a time, you know. Keep your vision inside, practice well, but keep it cool, step by step. This is how you get into the future, you know. My name, OTHMARIUS. Thank you for watching. Be sure now, more. Wait, I do this with this background, it's better. Be sure now, more magical stuff is going to be uploaded very soon. Thank you, everybody. You are awesome. Okay, guys, this sucks a bit. I always want, I just need to make this happen once again, you know, to have to say the last word and then just to hit this trailer, okay? And this trailer, and then it's cool, and then it's crisp to the end. Okay, I'm doing this one more time. Be sure now, more magical stuff is going to be uploaded very soon. See you next time. OTHMARIUS Magic. Like and subscribe.